Hey. Typing in a description at the moment. So, yeah, guys, I was wondering, 2.0 is out, right? So, can everybody hear me okay, by the way? I'm in a new office now, so I just set everything up. Okay, good. Alright, so yeah, I was, we all went to PdxCon, and it was lots and lots of fun. It was a great time. Only in Stockholm for maybe 5 days or so, but we gave a talk, we had a booth. Yeah, Ellie's asleep at the moment. But I'm sure I'll get to see her later too. A little quiet, okay. I'm gonna have to adjust the volume. Let's see. No, that everyone in my family is pretty thin. But well, you're less fat than your comments previously implied. Yeah, it's because I got the shadows with all the right angles right. I'm actually 300 pounds. Just doesn't look that way. I better get bubbles. Oh, Banner Razu. I wanted to play Silesia because they're wedged between two would-be behemoths, right? So I think Silesia will be a lot of fun. But to stay on task. So we basically went to PdxCon, and it was a lot of fun. And we got to meet some of the players of Mew and Taxes. Few people flew out just to see us specifically, which was kind of cool. We also got to talk to a lot of people at Paradox as well. I talked with Sham, who's the guy in charge of listening to pitches from various development companies and things like that. And he kind of organizes what kind of games that Paradox accepts and publishes and stuff like that. So I got to talk to him for a while, and maybe about 2.5, 3 hours. He went to our booth and we just talked all about the industry and how to make a game work and what you need to do beyond just designing it, all the business aspects, from marketing to community building to team organization and things like that. It was a really great conversation. I loved it. And then I got to go to Paradox headquarters, and I got a meeting with Sham there too in the cafeteria. We talked for a while, and I sort of made a quasi pitch, and I felt like I didn't have the right to make like a real pitch, like, hey, you should give us or me a chance or anything like that, because I just felt like I'm too inexperienced to really to make that kind of pitch yet. But I kind of tried to sell them on the concept of dynamic population growth and stuff like that, and what it could mean for a standalone game. And so I got his business card, and I got his personal phone number and personal email and stuff like that. So I will be keeping that someplace safe. Paradox, interestingly, let's see, let me go through some of these comments real quick. I thought you'd be black. No, not black. Is Ellie short for Elizabeth? It is short for Eleanor, like Eleanor of Aquitaine. Was just lamenting the lack of Demian streams. Yeah, I'll be trying to stream Possibly 4 or 5 times a week in the evening. It just depends. It depends how work goes. And it depends on where I decide to go with this whole thing. Whether I'm going to keep developing for New and Taxes, whether I'm going to go for my own projects. I'll have to figure that out. It's actually something I wanted to ask you guys too, and get your opinion on later. So let's pick that up later. Can you tell us if you got anything juicy out of PdxCon? Anything at all? Not the content of it, just if you got anything for the team or whatever for the future. We did actually. I'm not sure we are at liberty to say, but what's really cool is that Paradox definitely listens to us, and so we're gonna get a lot of really, really helpful, really good tools in the future, and trying to figure out what is considered confidential and what isn't. But I know that Paradox, at least Sham had said this, that they were really, really looking for a way to make modding rewarding, especially for mods that are really, really popular, to give possibly more of a financial incentive or something like that to modders. But it's one of those things that aren't really, nothing that's set in stone. They're trying to find a way. The thing with Paradox is they got burns a number of times trying to accommodate modders and making their own games and stuff like that. So they're a little bit squeamish, but they're trying to find a way in which there's low risk, but they can still manage to harness the power of modding to make it favorable for both modders as well as Paradox itself. One encouraging thing I found out though was that Paradox, and this might sound weird to you guys, I would think that it is encouraging, but Paradox doesn't make their games moddable out of the goodness of their own heart. It's actually a good business decision because it generates a lot of persistent enthusiasm amongst, a fairly, even though it's a narrow range of people, it's fairly intense, and it keeps the longevity of the game alive a lot longer. So it's actually, modding makes sense for them to support it from a financial perspective. So it's not like they would just decide one day as a company that it wasn't worth it anymore, because it's definitely advantageous for them. I'm still sick, by the way. I got freaking Pax Plague. I'm in Florida, so I had to fly to Sweden. Screwed up my schedule, and then yeah, and then you're crammed into a plane, into a convention with a bunch of people, and everyone's coughing and everybody else. So yeah, I'm still getting over that. Sabatkins, Mr. Demi is the first streamer gamer who looks kind of how I thought he was from his voice. Yeah, Jonathan, was it like Willy Wonka at the Chocolate Factory at PdxCon? It was, man. And we, the conference was in like this old archives building, and so it was it felt like we were all ministers to the king or something, because it's on this little island in Stockholm, right, where they have the parliament and they have all these royal mansions and palaces and stuff like that. And it was great. I loved it. And dude, man, Stockholm is like the nerdiest city in Europe or something, because they had like I was cruising around with KJ and a few other M&T fans, and we bumped into a freaking sci-fi store that was like massive, and it just had every board game and every sci-fi book and fantasy book, and it's pretty awesome. But let's see. Cough, East versus West Coast. So hopefully we get to give you some money soon. Yeah, Green Forest. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with a mod, because as you all know, I have a family to support and I have a business that I have to run, and I have some people. If I needed to step back with my company, I now have some people who could start to fill in some of the customers and clients that we have currently. And so if I wanted to step back and I could fill that in somehow with supporting myself through development, then that would be kind of like the time to do it, because we have people available. It's really hard to actually train people to do the thing that I do with the company, because you need to have experience with it, and there's no school that you can go to. It's kind of a tricky trade. I'm gonna try and figure out some way to make it work. But that's, now that I've got everything pretty much set up in the new house, and I'm getting over my illness and everything, I'm going to try and sort out the whole Noob game dev thing and figure out what exactly I'm doing. I really want to continue to work on the mod. The thing is, it's kind of complicated because you really have to have a lot of focus to create complex features, because if you only work on it like once every 3 days or something like that, every time you come back to it, you spend most of your time trying to figure out what the hell you were doing, and it gets confusing and complicated. And so you have to have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, in a row to be able to work on it. I think a sprint, right, is what someone said I should call it. So I'm gonna get the organizational stuff down. I already made the forum, like the Noob game developer forum, and I have it hidden currently because I was totally bugging out the gaming rebellion while I was experimenting. So I'm just gonna leave it locked for now, and I'll start it up later. Okay. Ellie, that is a very convincing disguise, but we all know the truth. Yeah. Ellie and I were playing Terraria a little earlier. It was pretty fun on the new computer setup. So will Mutant Taxi 2.0 be on the console release of EU4 when it comes to... Yeah. Just please make the game you will make historical. I was trying to get an answer from Sham and some of the others as to whether they would lease the engine, the Claustowitz engine, and I don't think they're going to, which makes things a lot more difficult. If I were to make a historical game. So I don't know. It would be really great. Maybe most people would probably disagree with me, but if I wanted to make a mid-range game that wasn't too complicated, it would be cool to make a game about a historical game, strategy game about a relatively what's the term? Not super glamorous place, but interesting, like Armenia. Make a game about all the princes in Armenia and the mountain ranges and all the different nobility there and stuff like that. Kind of like someplace less known, but with very interesting history and power dynamics and stuff like that. Just an idea. Just randomly thought of that. Cilicia, yeah, I'm in the play Cilicia, I think. Oh, by the way, guys, now let me get to the rest of your comments first. But will the feature spotlight videos continue as more stuff is added? Yeah, Theodosius, we'll do that. I'm still. Make flags. Please make the flags in the corner a separate mod, please. Well, I'll be glad then that I started making an engine. Damn you for giving me something to do. Yeah. It'd be so much fun to make my own engines. Yeah, I love a lot of technical stuff that people hate to do is the stuff I really like to do. Some of the stuff under the hood. Okay, getting to the bottom of the comments. A game about Armenian nobility would be awesome. Okay, good. Glad that someone else feels that way. Let's see. Enrique, I like the mod a lot, but I just can't bear to play it without the ability to prove innate fertility directly. We're fixing the colonization bug, even though I love MT a lot. Yeah. So you guys obviously and I'd said this before release, that there is still quite a bit of it's playable, right? And I hope it's still fun, but there's obviously a lot that still needs to be done, right? And Enrique, everything you said right there is obviously stuff that, you know, needs to still be in the game. Colonization bug, I'm going to try and fix that before the Steam Workshop release. Actually, I was just thinking about, there should be an on action, I hope, that Paradox gave us that allows us to instantly make changes. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I'll work on that bug. I'll work on it tomorrow. I have some time off tomorrow, so I'll try and deal with the colonization bug. Previously, it was assigned a game startup from the startup event, but then the variables were being wiped for some reason, because that's what happens when you colonize, right? So what I'm going to do is instead not set them at all at startup, and then have them set when colonization happens instead, and then just set a bunch of lengthy criteria for it, and that should fix the bug. We'll see. Let's see, Demian, what happened to the ability to replace a vassal monarch with your family member? I don't know personally. Not my part of the mod. There's no end to the comments. Yeah, that's true. Okay. We're at the end of the comments then. So, yeah, so general impressions of the mod. I mean, what do you think, guys? So you've had a week to play. I kind of figured going dark for a week would be fine while everyone played it and kind of got their impressions. I was a little nervous for a while because hype never lives up to the true what you end up seeing in the game itself. Because, you know, before someone actually plays a game or a mod or whatever, it can always be whatever they want it to be in their head, you know, and that's always going to be better than what you actually see in the game. The only time I've found that the game is ever as good as I hoped it would be is when I learn about it, like a day before I play it. And then I play it, and then there's no hype to really live up to, so. Let's see. It's really good. Love it. All right. I suppose we have somewhat of a skewed statistical sampling here, because you guys are showing up to all the people that are like, disappointing, it sucks, they're not going to show up to streams anymore, right? Alright, makes the world feel alive. Yeah, China is insane. They need a few more kicks in the balls, though. There's a lot of constraint mechanisms that aren't on China yet, so they're a little stronger, but they're still going to be crazy in game too, when everything's done, if everything gets done. Would you be interested in doing some Vicky 3 modding when it comes out? Possibly, Chris. I don't know, but my suspicion is probably not. Alex Brigham, generally I'm entirely hooked. Alright, that's good. I hope that you are neglecting all of the important things in your life for the sake of MNT 2.0. I like the mod, but it's a bit hard to understand all the mechanics. Yeah, Ozzy, I agree. We do need better documentation and better explanations. We've been trying to get as much as we can in, but as you can imagine, it's a little tricky. We need obviously a wiki. We need a lot of things like that. Unfortunately, as modders, we have very limited influence over the interface itself, and we can't even embed dynamic localizations into a lot of the icons and stuff like that. So it's really freaking hard to express information. You know, it's amazing that we did what we did with it. Is that English I just spoke? It's amazing that we were able to do what we did. How about that? So hopefully it'll get better, but yeah, we'll see. Let's see. I've been wanting to sink my teeth into the game in your system since the stream started. So damn dynamic. Thanks. I wrecked France with a small Austria and some minor German states. Yeah, France, by the way, is also a little bit too... They were like totally OP immediately before release, and then we made some quick changes, and now they're like a basket case, which is kind of historical at this point. If they survive, then they become powerful. But the only thing that bugged me was the fertility 1 bug when colonizing. Yeah, sorry, that wasn't a bug before. When I first made it, it was operating fine. But that was like a year ago. So yeah, there's a lot of... My biggest issue is the random crashing. Uni, how often is your random crashing? Yeah, Timur may make it into 2.1. We're not so sure. Turks are bullshit OP. Yeah, the Turks... The thing to consider with the Turks is aside from having a bunch of cores... Not cores. Aside from having a bunch of permaclaims, which they've always had, all we've really done is they get a slight boost at game start for like 5 years or something. And then we just gave them more aggressive scripts, which is what they were in history. So, I mean, we haven't really given them any unfair advantages. And the missions actually make them perform worse. I kind of wish we'd get rid of those. Byzantines rock. We would love to revamp Great Powers, but we can't. It's kind of hard-coded. As if knows corruption isn't working the way intended. Yeah, that's weird. I wonder, there may be some kind of corruption bug, Kipper, because it's... I know there was kind of when we were at PdxCon, what happened was we updated M&T to the newest Paradox patch, and that was the one that had blown up our entire system, and so it may in fact not be working quite properly, or there could be some buggy things with it. So I'll have to take a look. And corruption, was a significant work in progress. So we'll have to take a look at that. Okay, AE can be harsh. Yes, it can. I really wish we had more modding tools for aggressive expansion. We are so out in the cold when it comes to being able to adjust aggressive expansion, unfortunately. Demian, maybe you should talk with YouTuber Roomba to make shorter, more specific guides. Yeah, I agree, Ozzy. Before it was kind of just, I was making videos. I wanted to focus more on actual development than making videos at the time, because I didn't have that much experience with it. But I figure we're released, right? And so we can kind of slow down and do things right at this point. For a long time in the development process, I was constantly being pushed to try and get things done because we didn't have a supported version of the original version of M&T, and it was kind of falling apart and frozen in time. And so, there was a lot of pressure from the rest of the modders on the team, like, come on, you gotta get this moving along. But now it's here, so we can kind of slow down and try and get some good documentation. Yeah, Mr. Honcho, when it gets done, who knows how long it's going to take. It depends on how much everyone else participates. It depends on how much I'll end up participating. I haven't really technically decided yet, because if I can't somehow find a sufficient amount of time, I'm not sure it would even be possible to continue developing in a serious way, completing, the important features, that I've, tribes and freeholders and colonization and stuff like that. Because unless you have enough time to really, really focus, then you're at 1/3 efficiency. Way to improve performance. There are a few physcap. If you start a thread in the forum and then tag Flopsy, he's the one who's been experimenting with improved performance. There's lots of stuff you can do with the water and things like that. We were thinking about having a mini mod, as we experimented with all the things that'll improve performance, and we can get an extra 1/3 out of the game, I think, if you make the graphics look like shit, basically. Yeah. I have a question about urban production scale. How exactly does one improve it, aside from random event that I got? You get it from centers of production. Each center of production... Actually, did I ever... Here, let me start the game here, and then let me get a center of production up. I may need to add it in the... Excuse me, still sick. So, let me get a center of production up here. I may have added it to the localizations. I may not have. Things were really chaotic when we released. Award the seat to the highest bidder. 3 years of separatism is livable. Well, I kind of want to kill you, Cyprus, so I don't know if I'm gonna... What religion am I, by the way? Yuck. That's right, I'm technically Catholic. Wow, so this is going to be difficult. It would almost be easier to, be Dulkadir and play them instead, because playing as Catholic, I'm going to have to convert everything. It's going to be a living nightmare. Well, let's go ahead and check out the centers of production just to see if there's... I kind of want Turks to be hit and miss, like if the Crusades fail, they get uber powerful. Yeah, instead of destiny, like instead of it being like their destiny, could probably figure out something like that. In which if they fail early on, then Great Predator gets deactivated, and then they suck pretty hard. Whatever. Okay, let's get a center of production. Centers of production generate urban skill. Urban production skill will gradually upgrade the quality of urban goods in the province. Yeah, I could use some more information, but now we're kind of cramming quite a bit into that description. So we'll have to figure out a better way to do it. I know eventually I was planning on adding a little thing here in the province data, economic data, and I was going to have urban production skill per year, right? That would kind of make sense, right? And that could be a bit more specific. Green Floors, any news on freezing the updates? Or I mean, freezing the game version you're modding? Good question. I don't know. There's no immediate plans for it. As much as I kind of wish that we would. It gets kind of irritating constantly having to update, but then, you know, we want to be able to get the new tools too, right? Well, 2.0 safe shredding. Yeah, 2.0 safe shredding is it's a lot better. We're thinking we may have a distance calc tool incoming, and if we do, then that should help quite a bit. Oops, crap. It's just, there we go. And if that happens, it'll help cut down on safe shredding too. Will Combs, Demi, I feel like a big issue right now is the lack of difficulty. The states are relatively easy to boss around. Volume is not hard. Prep failures do not seem to hurt much. Yeah. So the hope is that. So first off, right now the AI is somewhat hamstrung because I need to really work on estate AI, not estate, but I need to work on estate AI first off. But I also have to work on how country AIs interact with their own estates. There's a lot of important things that need to be done there, and that's actually one of the first things I wanted to do, because in order for what happens is by around 1550, the other country AIs end up sucking, basically, because they don't know how to properly and prudently handle accumulating more and more privileges and things like that, which generate corruption. So I need to train them. Well, basically, what I was planning on doing is giving them is writing little scripts which will give how shall I say this? Give country AIs emotions at certain moments, which then have a blanket effect on all of their decision making throughout the game, including when it comes to corruption and fighting corruption and things like that. I'll make a developer's video later about that and how I plan on giving the AI emotions. But it'll help tremendously. But I have to do that first before I can make them properly use the different estate interactions. And then also, let's see, the other part of the question. Not hard to keep low. Corruption privileges do not seem to hurt much. I'm wondering. No, I'll have to see if anything got scrambled when it came to corruption and privileges and stuff like that, because it wasn't like that earlier. And I'm wondering if something broke and it made it too easy to revoke or something like that. I'll have to see. But that's a possibility, because that's not supposed to be the case. So that's one of the reasons why I want to run another game, see what happens. Yeah, Lambert, we did ask, did you talk to any PdxCon staff about modding tools like new map modes? Yes. And we unfortunately won't be getting the ability to mod map modes ever, probably. Sadly, it's just too difficult, too much time for them. Rivals seem hard to sustain once you get a certain snowballing threshold. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of good critiques here, guys. So definitely stuff that I'd like to work on. We'll just see. Yeah. Well, it's 2.0 beta, and they were pretty straightforward that they have most of the base stuff in. Right. I mean, guys, what you're seeing here is kind of the scaffolding of a game. So we still have tons of work to do, which I hope gets done. But we'll see. So yeah, there is definitely a lot of work to still do. And we're going to continue. At least I hope we can continue to work on those various things. And there's a lot, especially with state corruption. State corruption is supposed to kind of pick up where privilege corruption dies down. So if you're a medium, even a large country, and you are able to reduce your autonomy significantly, then corruption is extremely easy to manage, especially once you get past 1500. And that's because state corruption is supposed to pick up, and you're supposed to get more of those sources once you reduce your autonomy significantly. But since that's not in the game, it's in the code. I just commented it out. But since that's not in the beta right now, then basically you're getting all of the benefits and none of the bad parts of reducing autonomy. Does that make sense? And so, depending on how you play, it could be very, very easy to reduce corruption. And it shouldn't be, because there's supposed to be state corruption as well, which is supposed to scale up. The bigger the state is, right, relative to to all your other estates. Knife at start? I don't know. It can. So when the startup event, you'll notice around February 13th, the startup event fires, and then things kind of chug along a bit. And if you alt tab out or you have the map, the trade map mode open or something, then it'll probably crash you. If you keep your trade map mode open and run the game, you are much more likely to crash. So yeah, those are the major ones I can think of. Mr. Dano, has M&T been given any special support from Paradox? It has, in the past. It's not like we have a direct line all the time, but they've given us, we've requested things and they've given it to us, and other times we've requested things and we've never heard from them again. Just period. It just, there's, Paradox is a big company, obviously, so they can't really be totally fixated on whatever it is we, happen to be doing at any given moment. Okay. Yeah, I once had multiple urban goods in a city. Even though I know it's a bug, is there any way to actually need to fix that bug? Is the most important part. For some reason my chat box is acting funny. Trying to catch up. Integrate the idea of multiple goods produced by one city. I suppose it's theoretically possible in the future, but it's one of those things that's like, it's one of those things that's, it's like back burner type of thing. Timmy can put his camera in, but not the live chats. Yeah, how would you... I think there was an issue. We tried it once before to put the live chat in. The problem is it has to take up like a huge freaking part of the screen for anyone to see it, So it's not really practical. I will make my own choices, mother. I should be like collecting here. Yes. Play Semyon, the opiest religion in the game. Is there 2 versions of the game? I've seen that in your start and Roomba's there's 3 options. Yeah. So right now you're seeing like the developer's copy, and so we've obviously added in. I just pulled everything from the repository. A lot of people on the forums who are Mac users have this bug where the game crashes as soon as one day passes. It happens to me, Nafe, once every 10 times I try to start up, I think. So, I don't know. It's not entirely sure. Never did get to the bottom of it, so I apologize. Uni Propoise. Yeah, an iron copper pool. I've thought of it before, but I haven't really gone anywhere with it. When you get the pop-up telling you that the education court levels changed, there is no indicator of whether it's gone up or down. Yeah, I didn't put that in personally. If I can get around to getting my... where's Antep? Oh yeah, let's attack the Mamelukes. How about it? Yeah, if I can get around to it personally, I can make it prettier and more obvious. I haven't like touched the mod in like since the last time I streamed, so anything that's made it into the game since then is other developers. In case the Mamluks get really, really distracted, I guess. I don't know. Do I not have an error? I do not have an error. Oops. So I will points 1. In Serbia, I put the Turks in their place. Push them off the Balkans. They got bankrupt. No, the Turks are beatable. I'm gonna have to fight them. Dude, I'm guessing you live in South Florida because of the window blinds. Yes, live in South Florida. I might try Semyon later, but it's kind of down in the armpit of the world. Would these emotions take into effect the ruler traits we currently have? No, so the point of the emotions from the AI perspective is not to be like some role-playing thing, but to make the AI actually behave appropriately given the circumstances. So when someone comes up and they punch you in the face, it's appropriate to be angry, right? That's, you know, our human emotions from a socio-biological standpoint are have a purpose, right? They have an adaptive purpose to make you behave, to tune all of your behaviors in an appropriate direction given the circumstances you're surrounded with. So if someone is attacking you, it's appropriate to be angry because you need to defend yourself or deter them from doing it in the future. If you win the lottery, it is appropriate for you to be happy because you don't want to squander the opportunity to, you know, claim your ticket and to spend the money on something good. If you are angry or depressed when you win the lottery, you could do something stupid like burn it all or something, right? So the point of emotions in you know, mammals and birds and such is to tune all of your behavior toward a specific type of objective. And emotions in the AI, when I put emotions into the AI, it'll work the exact same way, right? So if you have a lot of corruption and you're way too big, you know, the AI could be self-conscious, right? And so while they're self-conscious, they'll be like, oh, I better not eat any other countries, otherwise it'll give me a tummy ache and make me fat. I need to start cutting back, and I need to start cutting sources of carbs, aka corruption, right? So that's kind of how emotions would work, right? It would tune all of their behavior. I'd make like an index of emotions that they could have a directory every month that would determine what they get based on the circumstances. And then anytime any event at any point could fire, you could use those emotions to inform the decisions that they make, the same way that emotions would inform the way that, you know, you make decisions, right? So that's me rambling, but that's the idea, at least. Yeah, art and intellectual centers appear where there are lots of upper class people, universities, and like the art buildings, and they attract institutions. They're a little underpowered right now. I was going to have them play a much bigger influence when it came to education and possibly courts. We'll see. Turn entirely about our power. Demi, follow-up. Will reinvention be added by the time the beta is over? Don't know. Poor Banurazi will never get played. Can you settle an argument about whether or not development cost is used? Alex, it will be. Some of the other developers already came up with a purpose for it. It's going to be a second type of build cost, which is multiplicative, kind of, yeah, instead of additive. So we'll more on that later. Yeah, the emotion thing. Yeah, that sounds cool. I was. When did I think of it? I was out on a walk and I was thinking like, you know, I'm always irritated by the fact that philosophers are always sort of like extolling, you know, the virtues of emotions and how artificial intelligence can never have them and it's what makes people special. And I'm like, no, it's not. Emotions are like so incredibly simple. And I'm like, you could so easily give emotions to AIs. And I'm like, well, how would you do that? So I got to thinking about the way that emotions work in you know, in other animals and their adaptive function. And so I'm like, hey, I could use that. I could use that in the game. So I should do it. So I'm gonna do it. And KJ is kind of stepping back as our AI guy, so I'm gonna have to step up and do more on that. I guess I don't need my army maintenance all the way up. Okay, do you have an alliance with Cyprus? Well, I'm gonna. I'm gonna strike now then. No levies. Oh, it's still really early in game. Let me fabricate a claim here. Oh, I can't because I just started the game though. Yeah, I still got a ways to go. So yeah, I found it's very frustrating when you lose the center of production, trade, or art, and you can't tell why. Yeah, it's. I mean, if you lose it, it's because you get sacked or somebody else built more. Things like that. Centers of art need a little more work, kind of, sort of. Yeah, I'm not. It's something Cardinal and KJ were kind of working on. And it kind of uses some of the same principles as centers of some of the same code as centers of trade and centers of production as to where they're assigned. But as to what generates art power, that's not as clear as it should be, and I'm not very familiar with it because I didn't work on that directly. Hey Demian, who's the guy in the bottom right corner? I don't know. That's Ellie. That's Eleanor. State corruption would make a decentralized playstyle viable. Alex, yeah, technically. I mean, it's, if you could manage your estates well, it would keep state corruption fairly low because you'd have less of an administration per capita. Yeah, the Wallaby. That seems buggy, to be honest. Because privileges should be coming at you faster. That does seem a bit buggy to me. I'll have to run some hands-off games overnight and see what's going on with that. I know some people don't like the snaking deserts and tribes. Not sure what you mean exactly. Deserts and tribes. Demian is Ben Affleck. Yeah. Just watch the movie with him. What is the best way to improve farming efficiency? Right now, yeah, there's not much you can do other than generate prosperity. But what I'm going to do, guys, what I'm thinking of when I started doing the development videos, I was thinking, first off, one way to do it is you have an infrastructure project, kind of like constructing roads. You could use manpower, stuff like that. And then you could build canals and dams and things like that. And that would improve both your innate fertility as well as farming efficiency. But then I was also thinking that we could have edicts as well for states, right? So you could then give tax breaks and stuff like that for farmers so that they could improve their farming efficiency. And the money that you basically are spending on state maintenance in those provinces that you selected, that money will go to the farming efficiency directly, right? And that would be a really easy way for the player to improve farming efficiency in different places, right? Does that kind of make sense? Just an idea. Would it be possible to add some kind of AE modifier to each tag as a national idea? The only way we can mod AE is AE impact, aggressive expansion impact, which is to say we can't really do that much. I should get some allies, shouldn't I? I should have thought of this way sooner. Can I plausibly make an alliance with you? Domineering. That ain't nice. I kind of want to kill you, so I'm not sure how practical that is. And allying anyone that's next to the Ottomans may not be a good idea, but let's do it. Oh, by the way, something I wanted to run by you guys. I read my mind. Is possibility of a multiplayer game. Should be a lot of fun. It would also be a good idea to kind of collectively work out some of the imbalances and bugs and things like that. Also give me a chance just to kind of have fun with the game as well, and to stream a multiplayer game. That would be maybe a good way to get more people into the stream. Will France be buffed a bit? Yes, they will be buffed a bit. They were kind of on the fritz a bit. Yeah, really profitable looters can also. Yeah, looting needs some checks and balances. So if we get the distance calculation tool, I was thinking about coming up with a simple supply system. Don't get too excited. In which, when your soldiers are like really far from your capital or your border, then they get really costly to maintain. And so what that means is you can't like sail over that. Probably from your capital, and you can't sail over to like China and loot the crap out of them and still make it profitable. The only hang-up is obviously it's impossible to train the AI to pay attention to this. The good news is the AI seems a bit better about not sending armies across the entire world. I remember as a game with Granada, I pissed China off and I just like kind of flipped them the bird. And then like 2.5 years later, as the war is continuing and nothing happened, suddenly this massive Xinghu showed up on like the coast of my capital and like landed 150,000 troops. I'm like, ugh? So that doesn't happen as much anymore, and so I think maybe a supply system like that could be plausible, but we'll see. Right now, it isn't because we use a hack. We use like a hack to calculate distance, in which we move a rebel capital to one spot, and then we move another rebel capital to another province, and then calculate the distance between those two capitals. But it makes those provinces members of the Holy Roman Empire if there's too many calculations happening at that moment in the background with the engine. So then you have to remove the capital. Yeah, you have to remove them from the HRE and remove it's way too freaking confusing. So hopefully we're just gonna get a proper tool for it. Anyway, joys of modding. Hey Demi, plan to continue your own game? Probably not. I wanna branch out and discover some new bugs and focus on a few different things. Yeah, sorry, Mac user guy. I don't really know what the issue is. We'll have to look into it more. Yeah, Lambert, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I was watching your videos, Lambert. They were a lot of fun to watch, actually. Just while I was sick, I couldn't do anything. I was like, I wish I could see the mod in action, and then ta-da. But yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, a big MP game though. You know, like 12, 15 people, something like that. That would be fun. Make it Europe oriented. That's what got me into modding is playing multiplayer. And I did pretty good. I had a lot of fun. I played half SIDS once and did pretty good. Played Granada, and I think I won out of like 15 people, and then played Granada again, and I got like second place, I think, in the next game. But yeah, I love epically long multiplayer games with lots of backstabbing and lots of intrigue and diplomacy and things like that. But I can't turn down a multiplayer. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be fun. Lots of people involved. Okay. I did play Europa Universalis 3. Rome, believe it or not, the Rome one, EU3 Rome was my first Paradox game. Let them pay GCI, yes. And what I loved, the first thing I noticed was just like, holy crap, there's a lot of countries you can play. And that's what was always fascinated me about Paradox games, that particular attention to detail. Come on, how much further do I have to go? A long way. Okay, so I guess we're just gonna hang out. Oh. Do I here stop relations for a minute? Do I have some? There's some BS. Oh, what? How they? Oh no, Karaman, son of a bitch. Byzantines rock. That's an interesting perspective. Would stability policies add to the innate fertility and farming efficiency as well? It would make sense that policing the roads would help infrastructure. What might be better is just to have stability in general, right? Improve farming efficiency gain. It already improves wealth gain by a little bit. But yeah, more ways to improve farming efficiency, I agree entirely, is absolutely necessary. I've wanted to get around to it, but there's just only so much you can fit in at any given time. So yeah, I'm obviously not going to fight Karaman here. Darn. And you are way too powerful. Yuck. And they want to eat me. That's cool. Well, let's just make sure we... When Demian crushes your dreams to restore the Roman Empire. I'm sorry, Mr. Boxer. Let's see. Oh, good. I'm at the bottom of the... What is my culture? I believe it's yes. Oh crap! I'm occupying. Yeah, so I'm a Sunni. Yuck. Who is neither on his accepted culture nor his religion. Yeah. Yuck. I gotta. Yeah, this is a pretty crappy place to play. I wanted here, let me see here. Culture map mode. I really should be paying attention. No. I want... Where is it? Where is that? Yeah, so technically we're in like the Armenian culture group, but what culture am I actually? I believe I'm Turkish. What would be nice? See, I would love to play an authentic Levant game. There's just no one to freaking play. Unless there's like culture flip. Bami Razi make me. Well, Cilicia, they're Jalurids are Mongols too, though. They're foreign invaders. So I'd love to play a game where you could plausibly. The problem is Silesia is Armenian too, so it's how the hell do you? That's what I hate about the Mamluks. They just cover all of this interesting territory. Right, and if I played... Actually, are you guys... Banu Khalid, are they Arabian or are they Mazriki? How do you tell, by the way? What is your primary culture? You're Arabian. Yeah, so there's no... Right, so you play as the Jalarids, and they're technically Mongolian. You play as the Mamluks, they're OP. Unless it's possible to culture flip or something. Start as the Mamluks and release a country. That's possible. That's kind of gamey, but it's not that could work. Actually, let's see. Mamluks would probably want to like instant eat me. But whatever. That could be fun, actually. Let's see. Subjects. I forget where you release. There was like a release subjects. Yeah, Lewis, I think you've mentioned before the hordes are getting a rework. They won't be out by release. It's gonna take quite a bit of work. The scaffolding for tribes are all in. Diplo bottom screen. Oh, that's right. I think this was it, right? Yeah, create subject. Damascus would be awesome, but too big. Hijaz. I don't want to give you all of those provinces. Yeah, a little too OP. Oh wow, sir, you've had to resist playing M&T 2.0. Actually, so guys, if I conquer my way into Mamluks, I should technically be able to culture flip. I think, right? Oh, yuck. Doplodir really is pretty bad. Okay, I'm convinced. Let's play Damascus. As it's reloading, I'll be right back. Share stream. I thought you were released when you decided to play. I must be just begin. That's nice, chair. I love my chair. So comfy and everything. Okay. I gotta actually start. Okay, so try to release it. Game start. See what happens. I guess Damascus won't be too easy because I do have to deal with the Ottomans, and I just don't get to play very often, so fair is fair. I'll be lacking somewhat in skills. So I am a subject. Is there a way to just release piecemeal? I guess not. You can give provinces away individually. I'm wondering if I wanted to give back some provinces just to make it more challenging. Nah, I still gotta break free. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I start out with horrible money and manpower. I can start in 1530, but not as interesting. Mamluks are a little bit too nerfed too. Got some work to do there. I bet like a Mesopotamia, Levant type of thing would be. This whole area's whole culture group I found was a very plausible, the original caliphate is such a plausible superpower historically wise in this era that just kind of fizzled out, and just became the battleground for an Anatolian Bosphorus-based empire. Okay. Do I want a royal marriage? For now. Let me just get my bearings here. Checking the time. So yeah, multiplayer game, that would be awesome. I want to be able to do it often enough that we could make some progress. Possibly sooner than later. I'll be right back. More chair stream. Sorry. Okay, you ready? Now it's the Demian drinking water stream. Yeah. That's good. You people and your names. Was it not sufficiently anglicized? I never change the names on provinces. I don't even know how. Probably, let's see, it's probably one of these doohickeys, right? Yeah, not working. Good. There. Wah. Wah. Oh. Let's see. Antiocho was bothering you, so would Demian lands be less offensive to your historical tastes? Is that what you wanted me to do? In Strategos, no tribes won't be in by release, unfortunately. It's got quite a bit of work to go. Demian land, yeah. Nah, I hate it when people do that. I hate it. So we'll go with Antioch. If this is how you in fact rename things. No, it isn't. Demian Istan. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yay! There. And everyone was happy. So yeah, Christopher, freeholders, the idea is that the ultimate plan is freeholders are difficult to tap for individual favors and stuff like that and demands. But how do I explain? They invest heavily in the economy, and they will probably persistently give you a decent amount of manpower and things like that. But yeah, like I said, it's mainly they're very good at improving the economy, and also eventually the idea is that if you want to become a proper republic, not just a merchant republic, then you get a lot of you get a lot of freeholders. If the freeholders then outnumber the nobles, then you can change to a republic. It's supposed to be really hard though, because the nobles, a lot of the work that'll go into the freeholders will involve nobles trying to buy up the lands of the freeholders and reinsert them, which is something that actually happened quite a bit in history. Is your capital in Damascus? It should be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Damascus is the biggest city short of Aleppo. Antioch's pretty big too. Yeah, Levant is such a freaking urbanized location. That's why it's so much fun to play in Syria. Yeah, center of production. Making steel. Do I get a steel bonus? Oh, I got a carpet bonus. Hey. Oh yeah, steel bonus too. Wow, ample steel. Impressive. Got me some carpets. Got me some steel. Institution reinvention be out by 2.0? Probably not really. Flying carpets. Yes. Yeah, Damascus steel is historically pretty badass. Here, let's speed things up a bit. So I should have a plan. I need a plan. What's my plan? Let's see. Oh, wow. Woo! I'm 22 and I got a God King. I got Sultan. Oh, I should... Right, I gotta set my merchants and everything. I got 37% control. I'm like out of range. Really not advantageous trading situation. Well, my range is horrible. Okay, yeah, let's come up with a plan. What is the plan? So here's the thing. Damascus, the Levant is in a very good position to urbanize. Plus, it has a lot of dry lands, which is pretty good for gaining farming efficiency. So playing a tall game is definitely a viable strategy. The problem is I'm kind of wedged between a lot of other big countries. I got to break free of the Mamluks, obviously. Step 1, break free. Step 2, conquer all of Syria. Question mark, profit. Yeah. Reform Babylon. I like that plan. If I gotta deal with the floods of Mesopotamia. But yeah, that would be fun to conquer Baghdad. Same culture group. I guess in theory, right, if I wanted to reunite. Let's see, if I want to reunite or unite all of the Mazrikis, that would be a pretty OP way to go. How developed are tribes currently? Actually, they're mostly done. Come to think of it, there's a lot of groundwork that has to be done. So, for instance, how to explain? So, all of like the when it comes to like estates and stuff like that, most of the work is all of the coding underneath the hood, all of the stuff that relates to assigning the provinces, to having them switch around, to having them determine their power based on the province they're in and autonomy. There's so many little things like that. Well, tribes are already done in that regard. What really matters is from this point on is they need to be reformable. You need to be able to interact with them. They need to be properly integrated into horde mechanics as far as like horde unity, and then they need to be properly assigned throughout the world. And so they'll need to be assigned. These will all have to be replaced with a tribal estate, right? And you have these all over the place. And so these will be removed, and then tribes will be plunked in. And so you'll actually have tribes in some pretty, in some areas, that are otherwise fairly civilized. And so there's still a few weeks worth of stuff that needs to be done to tribes. Freeholders, maybe a month. But problem with freeholders is the way that they need to interact with nobles. And so nobles need to have their events. So I need the proper event system. So right now it's too easy to control estates, and that's because none of their events are in the game yet. And that's a huge portion of how estates need to be balanced. So, yikes. Okay. Jesus. Or Muhammad. I have way too many minorities in my country. And then one day, maybe, we can fix degradation. Sharia is the way to go, baby. Transoxiana is the country that Timur ruled over. And so he conquered all this, starting from Transoxiana. Originally, Mughal invaded Transoxiana, and Transoxiana was rewarded to Timur as a prize, and then Timur took a Mongol army and just kind of rampaged. Yes. Doesn't DG run on magic, Demian? Yes, it apparently does. I've looked in the code, and oh boy. It's it's quite a feat. So reforming all of that would be tremendous. Oh, I have way more manpower than I should have. Maybe I should exploit that before it gets taken away. I do have a road here. Road's fully upgraded. Yuck. Pretty much already have all the roads I need. I guess if I want to go a bit tall, should I build more forts? Why not? Let's build forts. Because I'm going to have to declare independence. Be able to slow them down pretty significantly, hopefully. Beirut's an important city. I don't want to lose it. So, why not? Build a fort there. As the Jews, I ran into a problem with the Sunnis not liking me converting them. Yeah, tribes are not finished. And it gets... Tribes were difficult to mess with. Wait, what? Oh. Huh. This is buggy. It's supposed to take away manpower. Yeah, become a tribal Jewish celestial empire. Oh, no wonder I have freaking Chaldeans and Druze and Jews, and that's why I got all those things pop up. Well, I don't want to convert, because I want to get jizya tax from them. Yeah, Quentin Beck. I want to take a look. Let's take a look. Oh geez, actually I'm gonna wait. I'll get the event ID, and then I'll take a look. There's so many tools that I made too that could be extremely helpful for DG. You know, I should really build some troops. But do I? I'm being protected by the Mamluks. Do I need to waste the money? Should I just save up? I'm not really paying attention like I should. Let's see. I'm kind of just like waiting for the Mamluks to get tired or something. Let's see. That seems awful cheap. That seems very cheap. Oh no, that's lesser nobles. That's more like it. Yeah, there's a whole dynamic I need to work on with influence and privileges and stuff like that. Won't get into too much detail, but the idea is that loyalty will be a continuum, and the lower your loyalty is, the more likely you are to get a negative event, but also the more likely you are to get a really cheap revoked privilege event. And then when you have higher loyalty, events will come at you consistently, just like before, right? But it'll be more likely that you get a positive event that gives you free stuff, like, oh, greater nobles want to contribute to education, yay! And so they'll give to your education, or maybe they'll give to your court, or maybe they'll give you manpower or something like that. But it's also more likely that they come at you asking for privileges too, because they feel entitled, right? And that's kind of how the loyalty dynamic will work with the event system. But I need maybe 25 or 30 events per estate. And that sounds like a lot, but it's not really a lot once you get going at it and you've built all the necessary tools. And then, of course, we need all of the adversarial crisis events, right? So when you do fall too low with loyalty, you actually... Right now, there's like just a really kind of lame placeholder event. But we need proper civil wars and things like that. So the net effect basically is when your loyalty is high with your estates, they'll be coming at you asking for privileges more often. And when your loyalty is lower, you can end up getting plunged into civil wars and stuff like that. But that also gives you an opportunity to weaken your estates. Right now, it's not super fleshed out. Byzantine? No, it won't. Like I said, I guess a lot of you guys missed it, but at the beginning of the stream, I mentioned that I haven't worked on anything at all since the beginning of the beta. And most of the rest of the team has been working on bug fixes and stuff like that. All of this new stuff, if it gets done, it's gonna be done by me. And I still don't know to what extent I'm really gonna be participating in more development in the future. I want to, obviously. I just don't know if it's in the cards or not. We'll see. Really depends on how much I'm able to actually work on it and focus on it. And I'm in a position with my business too, where if I wanted to, I could get more work and make an extra $15,000 a year or something like that. And that's a difficult thing to pass up. And I'd still obviously be able to do development in my free time, hobby-wise, but that's not enough free time to really be actively developing things like tribes and colonization and things like that. Unfortunately. It just takes way too much focus to make new features, especially keeping up with the rest of the team too. And it's not Demian's mod. He doesn't get to do... I'm talking about myself in third person now, but I don't get to just boss people around, tell them what to do. So it's ends up with a situation where if I'm trying to do development, active development, I don't really have the time. Then it ends up in a situation where I'm not paying attention to what other team members are doing, and so they're changing things that could screw up what I'm working on, or it just gets too confusing and too difficult. Let's see. Good to see you streaming again. Been having a lot of fun with the mod, but global trade is not fire at all. Yeah, the game breaks a bit toward the end. I'm surprised global trade doesn't, though. Let me mention that in Slack real quick. Let's see, Slack. Do we have an institution channel? Hey, does global trade institution fire? Go with it. Man, who exactly are you blockading here? Oh. Blockading your own provinces that are occupied. Okay. So Mamluks... don't know when I'm going to be declaring independence against them. No one's really big enough to support my independence, I don't think. I mean, Hafsids, I didn't think so. Apparently everybody loves them. Oh. Really? Too much distance? Let's check the stats here. Population. They're undersaturated. That's good. They'll grow. Steady clip here. Damascus probably isn't as good though. Yeah. Still slightly undersaturated though. Okay. Boop. Cynical fish. Let's see. I changed the line. You guys should add the ability to form Livonia. Yeah, that would be cool. Not my area. So I will direct you toward the forums. Yeah, SV that's probably not working as intended. All those late ends institutions still have some balance issues to sort out. Demon and taxes. Anyone know how to download this mod? I have no idea, Cynical. Someone needs to tell me how to download this mod because I've been trying to figure that out. Seriously though, okay, other people are telling you. Alright. Ottoman versus Gelerids and Fars in a hypothetical scenario. Right now, Ottomans would probably win. Yeah, sure. Yeah, another person gets to play. Okay, so I'm gonna stop having the jizya pop up constantly. Oh wait. Are you serious? Frack. Yeah, why does it not? Yeah, I'll make this better. The other thing I need to do is what I'll do maybe is I'll start like some development streams during the week possibly, and I can take some advice about what to add. I like to add some simple things like if you go to the court, like you get your court level there, but I'd like to have a little menu that when you click it, it shows you all of the possible. So here you can see all the different ranks. But I'd like to have a little thing here where you can mouse over the different ranks and see what you get from each one, so that you know what you're aiming for. Simple things like that wouldn't take a lot of time, maybe 30 minutes each, 45 minutes each. Maybe you guys can make those recommendations when I do little development streams, depending on if I do development streams. I don't know. Still sorting that out. I have no army. Well, maybe. Let's see. Never mind, I do have an army. I was kind of just hoping the Mamluks would do all the work for me. So I'm pretty well fortified everywhere. Let's see. Yeah, no troop, no army. The main reason I don't think Jalerid... Well, I guess Jalerids and Fars... I mean, they could. Who knows? Jalerids and Fars, they could be the Ottomans. I've never really seen it, so... Demian, can you make a timber tutorial? Timber... I think... Yeah, I'll ask Cardinal to do a timber tutorial. It's not something I made either. Yeah, let's see. So I could have a levy-only army and not have to worry about troops. Or I could let the Mamluks weaken themselves. Fight for me. Yeah, Byzantines rocks. If they do eat the Shupanids, then they're in good shape. The thing is, the Ottomans early on get a lot of active fights, so they end up with like 90% army tradition and amazing generals and all the benefits that come with that. So the Ottomans like punch way above their weight after they get done rampaging in the initial, fight. Oh, you know what, guys? This is a good opportunity to test a bug somebody mentions existed. Let's test it. So somebody said that if you are a vassal, you don't get to loot. Let's find out. I don't want to get stack wipes, so 53 days. A few troops is fine. Can't get staff. Let's see. Damn, Demian's face. Yep. Demian, when someone was Britishing your localizations, they accidentally replaced all and made offensive. Are you serious? Britishizing. Offensive. Oh, really? All the loot goes to the Overlord. I wonder if that's a bad thing necessarily, though. Is that a bad thing? That all the loot would go to the Overlord? I mean, because think about when you aren't playing the vassal and you have to deal with, like, your vassal swooping in at the last minute and occupying a province and then getting the loot. Like, that would suck, right? So I wonder if that's such a bad thing. Vassal Swarm is too OP in this mod. Edgy, I agree completely. Especially like the French vassals, it's really kind of silly. Unfortunately, that's just not really something the rest of the team wants to change. I'd like to make smaller OPMs and vassals weaker rather than stronger, because it's kind of stupid that some single province miner in Germany has 2k troops. Like, it's just outrageous. They would be lucky to have 200 in actual history. Maybe that's not Damien's face, but Ellie with a mask. You're the only one who's thought that. Yeah, Robert. Hey Damien, I'm a huge fan of Maze with all you've created. Do you have any suggestions on comprehensive resources for learning to play 2.0? Yeah, I wish there were an easier way. I've been wanting to write a manual, but it's time consuming, and there's always something else to work on with the mod. I mean, other than the videos and other people and asking on the forums, there's not really any. I'm gonna try and get people to help me with a wiki, like you guys out there. So we'll have to sort something out once we get officially organized again. Right now, I'm just kind of doing this stream just to touch base with everybody, and then I'm gonna get back to trying to get organized and come up with an official game plan, mod-wise and development-wise, and figure out what I'm going to do exactly. And I'm going to do the Noob Game Div. The question is whether the work that I do through the Noob Game Div will be principally focused on the mod right now, or whether it's going to be focused on my own project. So we'll see which one, but that'll depend. That was a bit off topic, sorry. So yeah, I'm going to try and get some people to help with wiki stuff. Yep, all loot goes to the Overlord. Darn. Hey Demian, have you ever gotten into a situation where you had to explain to someone, I made a mod making a really complicated mod for a slightly less complicated game? It's basically. Sveen or Demian, yeah, make the overlord pay a percentage of loot back, which is divided among vassals. Yeah, it's kind of complicated. I wonder whether it's better that vassals just, all right, you're the overlord, you get the loot. Like, I don't know. Let's see something. Where are you going, dude? Who am I fighting? I know Silesia, Cyprus. So are the Mamluks just... Oh, I see why they're running. I guess that's kind of obvious, huh? They don't want to get steamrolled. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here, occupy. I think it's gonna... Does it flip directly or does it flip to me first? Because what happens code-wise is wait, vassal assimilation. Is vassal assimilation a bug right now? It did have an issue. I'm not sure it was fixed or not. Oh, because I can't negotiate tighter bonds with my vassals anymore? Yeah, Jonathan, I'll ask Kaiser Reich. I actually met a lot of those guys at PdxCon. They have an interest, their mod, it's funny, they gave their talk, when they gave their talk, it was all about their mod history and how it was like full of drama and coups and like people fighting and everything. It made like the M&T mod look like a total, like, just like everybody sitting around singing Kumbaya, which is cool. But they're much more focused on lore and an individual local flavor and stuff like that, and less about like a total conversion of the game into a new game. And so, at least that was my impression. And so their job as far as a wiki is concerned is slightly different than ours. There's just a lot of it's about documenting lore and things like that, and less about hey, look at all these new sophisticated mechanisms. And so our job would be a bit different. But I mean, we have so many of you guys out there who you know so much already. It would seem like we could come up with some kind of crowdsourcing effort to get a wiki going, and then I could come in and take a look at it and make sure it's all canon, so to speak. And that could be a quick way to get it done, because it's easier for someone like me to revise it than it is to write it from scratch. It just takes a lot of time. Byzantines rock. A morale or discipline penalty could be applied to vassals to stop this form. That's a good idea. Main issue with vassals is, especially smaller vassals, is the issue of base income, base manpower, and stuff like that. Because you can be a little piece of shit, and your income should be virtually nothing, but instead it's like you're getting 10 times more from just being in existence than from resources that you're actually getting from your provinces, And so then when you're someone like France and you have like 10 of those vassals, you're better off keeping them as vassals as far as military is concerned than actually integrating them. And that's kind of perverse from my perspective. I already nerfed it a bit, but I think there would be general outrage among the other Deebs if I nerfed it any further. So yeah, a morale or discipline penalty could be a way to try and fix it. The supply system. So the supply system I was talking about, Catano, was mainly to limit people from sailing across the entire world, dumping 100k troops in a foreign country, and then going to town. And less about, you know, what the attrition would be in a specific place. So it'd be more about, oh, you have to pay way more money, as opposed to, oh, people are dying in droves. So I guess you could possibly do that too. I'm not sure. You could possibly do it with a monthly pulse, assign attrition. It would take some thought. Okay, so let's watch the flip here. Oh, my national rank has changed. That's very good. Thanks for letting me know. I'll deal with the unrest. Yeah, it looks like it just immediately flipped to Mamluks. Yep, 0 loot full. Let's do a straw poll. Okay, so should vassals even get loot? Yes. No. I'm just curious where people stand on this. Okay, making poll. Okay. Posting. I'm so far behind in comments, Jesus Christ. As a younger player, people assume I like either Minecraft or CSGO. Then I show them this and they slowly back away. I was always that kid. Cynical. Yeah, Lambert, I'm gonna log off to in a bit. But yeah, thanks, Ben. What about the vassals demanding money based on how much they did participate in the war? That's more complex, but an interesting idea. Kokomaru, is your presentation at PdxCon uploaded somewhere? Hey, you guys might like it. It was. I made lots of funnies and jokes. Was anyone in the stream there? It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so it looks like should vassals even get loot is kind of split. I just don't want to talk about it. Can you help there? I mean, yeah, I'll think about it. Homunculus. There, it may just be I don't know what the cause is. I'll try and bring it up. M&T lore, right? What M&T lore? Okay. Alright, so that was totally pointless. Raising my estate levies. Should just let Ottomans do their thing. No, Ottomans, goodness. Am I that tired? The Mamluks. War dynamism. How do I feel about war dynamism? War dynamism. I don't know. It's it's handy in some cases, but it can be very gamey and exploitative sometimes. Can you make hospital building a thing? We're thinking about making... So we wanted to change urban infrastructure to be more based on, like, you know, waterworks, hospital, that type of thing. This is one of the things that drives me crazy about Gracia. Is it a loosey-goosey way that it just murders your legitimacy. And for a player, that's not such a big deal, but I don't know, with the AI, I think it really ruins a lot of countries. Can't pass that up. Yeah, declare myself God King among the Thieves. Yeah, that's something that kept happening with Kaiser Reich, apparently. They kept having these coups. You know, like a few months back, I was getting real worn out, and you know, I'd gone to the other lead developers and said, guys, can you just like let me be director of 2.0 so I can expedite things and be able to make executive decisions and things like that. And you know, it didn't really fly, and they weren't really interested. And I just left it at that, because when you get down to it, the sort of open democratic system of Mew and taxes was what allowed me to like get into modding to begin with. They just like invited me in and let me do my thing, and so it'd be really douchey to like, you know, try to throw a coup or something like that, or break up the mod or something like that. No, Gig Out, I got to hang out with Gig Out at PdxCon. He's a super chill guy, really, really nice. I really like Gig Out. And he's the reason that there hasn't been as much drama in a big mod like this as there has been in other major mods. And so it really owes a lot to him. Deming is literally Erdogan. I'm glad mod drama kills projects. Why is that? I just call Gig Out Goo Goo. He's Goo Goo. Uncle Goo Goo. I imagine him as like being this Santa Claus like figure. Like Grandpa Goo Goo. He's not. He's just like, you know, not much older than me. You're too weak to move it. Cynical fish, you have to work out more. Yeah, but you know, the mod team is, I've said it before, and this was kind of confirmed when I was talking to Sham too. It is not possible to develop a complex game in a democratic type setting, where you don't have an executive authority kind of enforcing the philosophy of enforcing the design philosophy, and so that's one of the things that kind of makes me wonder whether it's practical to keep developing and adding new things like tribes, freeholders, and stuff like that, because it's hard to explain when you're not involved in the development process, but if you don't, that or it's getting too late and I'm feeling kind of sick and I'm not very good at explaining. you need certain things to stay still in order to work with them. It's kind of like if you're working on a jet engine, you can't have people going in there and kind of ripping things out and doing their own thing. And even if you're able to talk it over with the people that want to rip things out and move things around, it's the process of having to debate about it and argue about it in order to come to a resolution ends up sucking away all the time you'd have to actually build the thing itself, you know? So it's, oh my god, are we doing this again? And so, you know, that's the problem with the democratic system. It's great when you have a compilation mod where everyone's kind of just plugging in their own thing to different parts of the world. But when you want to actually want to create a complex system which influences everything, then that's when you really kind of need that person who has veto power, you know, when it comes to making certain changes. Because if the wrong thing is altered, it can really dramatically screw up the balance, or you start losing control of the quality. So yeah, that's recent polls show more than 50% of European youth are skeptical of democracy. This just in, Damien hates democracy. You know, I think even democracies elect presidents, right? Or prime ministers, right? So, you know, there's still an executive. You know, Gigao is a great, you know, peacekeeper, and great at keeping things calm. But he's also, because none of us are doing this full time, you know, his role is more detached from the actual new mechanics that are being added, you know? And so there's this slightly awkward situation where, you know, where he's leading the mod and doing a good job, you know, keeping the peace and keeping everything in order and keeping in touch with Paradox, but at the same time is disconnected from the new mechanics and doesn't really know how they work. And that's a difficult place to be, as far as trying to make it all work and integrate new mechanics and everything. So our democracy doesn't really necessarily work like, you know, the way a democratic government is supposed to. Jonathan 428. Kaiserreich is my baby on Hearts of Iron 4. Ask anyone, they'll tell me what the mod is keeping gaming alive. So sacrifices have to be made. Yeah, sacrifices have to be made. Now we sound like the terrorist who's determined to overthrow the government for the greater good, even if I have to kill, you know, a few hundred people. I mean, can you explain why Hawaii gets into the HRE? It has to do with the distance calculations. It's just a bug. It's a bizarre bug. We're using a hacked tool. We discovered our own tool, and it's a hack. And sometimes it just plunks, you know, HRE onto random countries. It's supposed to be removed. Giga comes back from Florida, announces peace in our time. Yep, Aquitaine is pretty strong. Demian, have you heard about mod theft of the PDF? I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds interesting. Dictator for life. This just in. That means gamers are terrorists. I don't know what you guys think. You know, you think you're gods because you've been playing these grand strategy games for so long, and you confuse reality with fantasy. I don't know how it works. Pipe dream, country level food used before continental food. Food, yeah. Food in this era was not... Even food in the modern era is not really a country managed affair. You know, I mean, it influences it, right? But borders have never super duper mattered for food all that much. I mean, I guess, like, in some cases, you know, when the Byzantine Empire lost Egypt, they lost their food supply to Constantinople. There's cases where that, you know, where it mattered, but food was actually pretty fluid, and so, you know, having a prioritized system where food is moving specifically within a country, I'm not sure. Not sure it measures up as much against, for instance, the regional food supply and the continental food supply. Magic Guy colonization has not been improved much yet. No, that's a major place that needs work. Who am I at war with again? Let's see. Ethiopia. Okay. This is getting out of hand. I need to change this news. Yes, Kate and I've been to Jacksonville plenty of times. I sure am saving up a lot of money. Let's see, what was my corruption? Not too bad. I wonder if somebody changed this. Commando dude, do you think we could get a promote burgers to lesser nobles option for countries that want to reduce burger dominance? You know, I was thinking about adding in categories in interactions that I have no events fired for estates currently. Something fishy is going on here. Huh. Yeah, something fishy is going on. I was thinking about coming up. So, for instance, there needs to be a way to revoke the right of estates to build their own forts and to have their own levies. And so there needs to be another category of interaction. And I was thinking about having something like what you were talking about, Commando, marginalizing burger dominance. But we'll have to. That's something for later. Louise, yeah, I got a friend from Jacksonville. It's actually kind of a nice little town. North Florida is so totally different than South Florida. It's almost not even the same state. M&T 3.0 plans. Oh, I should have like an official plan, shouldn't I? Might as well increase my tech. I could, you know, I feel like I'm not in the appropriate place to be building up my economy. Trying to, oh goodness, they're still so strong. I guess if they throw away more troops down there, I could try to get my independence. What's my force limit? I should know these things. 15. Oof. If I wanted to raise a decent sized army, I could really hit the Mamluks pretty hard. Maybe get my independence right out the gate. What's my... I probably do not have anywhere close enough to... Yeah. So I'd have to... Yeah, screw that. Yeah, there's no way. I'd have to fight Fez, who I'm sure would probably like walk across the entire world. Or maybe not. Let's see. Wait for them to end this war. Whatever the case, I'm going to start using this manpower. Let's get some action going, because sitting around ain't much fun. Yeah, I'm not gonna build more than 10, I think I was aiming for. Yay for them little events. Yeah, it is. Jacksonville is more like Savannah. Yeah, I was born in West Palm Beach. Lived there my whole life. I rather like it. You know what? I'm gonna be that guy. And I'm gonna turn off degradation. It's too dated. No, I thought I turned you off. It looks like the war is over. So, hypothetically, of course, every single ally would just swoop in. Wow. Yeah, my manpower is so high because it's a glitch. It's not a glitch because I released myself at GameStart. It did some weird stuff where it gave me tons of manpower. So the real manpower is 25,000, excuse me. I thought I shut off religious news. I wish to hear every last detail. Turn off only important news. Let's try that. Yeah, cynical. It sounds like you're just extracting to the wrong location. Which is actually kind of confusing and easy to do. So I say just keep trying. See what you can do. I know that's not the most satisfying advice, but military tech is pretty garbage. is your internal condition looking like right now? No, Mamluks. Yeah, corruption is really low for some reason. What is going on? Did somebody may have adjusted. Huh. Yeah, usually Mamluks have way higher corruption than that. I'll have to... Maybe something to that whole corruption's too easy to keep down thing. I'll have to look into it once I'm officially developing. Oh my god. Why? What did they ever do to anybody? Yeah, there's a lot in the works for corruption, state corruption, proper corruption events that hurt big countries, stuff like that. There's a lot to do with corruption. And just a lot of tuning to do as well. It does seem to be artificially low at the moment. I mean, when you consider how many I have. I mean, I'll have to ask Malorn or Sunblue if they've made any changes with corruption, or I can check the repository to see if anyone changed the defines recently. This is what I mean by stuff kind of changing, you know, without knowing. It's impossible to know whether some things do change or not. I gotta go to bed soon. So I want to look at privileges here. This privileges actually don't have that many. But you can see how this should all be generating state corruption as well. Yep. Finally got an office, Jewel. That's right. Yeah, I should be going to bed soon. And I should have more stability. Since I don't need tons of manpower, let's go with that. What is my... I'm getting a lot per year. Okay, so I'm about to get some stability. Funny that you should mention that. I've been completely neglecting my court. Court funding 0. Let's just inject a little bit. Why not? Education, let's just keep it floating. Jewel, does that mean you have no future plans for a 24-hour Play-Doh stream? Thinking about it. I'm just gonna fill this whole office up with Play-Doh on the walls, on the desk, and cover my face in it. Oh, how much court wealth is consumed each year? I believe it was 10%, so it gets sucked up pretty quickly. One thing I was thinking about doing was turning capital buildings into palaces as well, and reduce the benefit they give you to communication efficiency, and then also give them a multiplier to how effective the money is in your court. Blah. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is make it a multiplier to your endowment. And so you can build palace. You can basically be building bigger palaces, which multiply the splendor of your court. and make it easier for you to raise your court level by making a, one-time big investment. If that makes sense. Yeah, court level is, it's defined by court wealth per pop, right? So the more upper class you have, the more people you have to entertain at your court, right? Also, vassals, do they require? I think they require. Yeah, they increase the need for investing in your court because they are visiting your court as well, but by half. Yeah, Jewel, colonization is kind of one of those black boxes at the moment. Do you know anything about the plans for colonization after 2.0 release? That's kind of one of the later things because it's kind of functional at the moment. There's a few bugs that need to be fixed, obviously, but yeah, it's going to be a later on type of thing. Ramzan. Huh. I'm currently playing as Lithuania and I'm basically stuck at low development and -3 stability. How do I fix this? First thing, take some stability policies to raise your stability. Yeah, low development. It's going to take a long time for you to... Because Lithuania is Eastern Europe. It's kind of garbage. Once you get your stability up, that's the obvious important part. Get it to 0 or 1 or something like that. But then you want to try and get as much money spent in developing some urban industries as possible. Lithuania is not ideally poised for profiting from trade, so try to get some robust urban industry going there, and that should help to raise your income. That should end up investing in farming efficiency in the region and also make cities bigger. Yeah, I'm not a map dude. Hello. Just passed here to say thanks for the awesome mod. Cool. Alright, thanks. Nablu, yeah, I didn't do those. Demian wants a black box. Like the kind of airplanes that crash. Yeah, France and... I mean, you can see here France isn't doing terrible. The problem with France... So France will be balanced once I get the AI work done. So... If I get the AI work done, right? So I gotta give AI their emotions, and then I need to have them work off those emotions properly in order to utilize state interactions better. One of the problems with France is that sometimes they get stuck in real deep debt right at the beginning, and that can sink them pretty quickly, and so they can sometimes fall apart. Requirements for level 4+ industries, just higher tech for the most part. I mean, how do you give the AI feelings? Yeah, I explained it earlier in the stream, where what you do is you design their emotions just like our emotions. And if you approach it from a sociobiological standpoint, emotions have utility, right? And the point of having an emotion is that right, so it washes over all of your decision making and weights it toward a specific type of objective, right? Someone punches you in the face, it makes you angry, and when you're angry, you are prone to acting aggressively, which is exactly what you need to do when you have someone trying to punch you in the face, right? Same thing. Let's say you get super duper fat, right? And you don't want to be fat, and so you would feel like shame, right? And shame might help you to diet and burn off the calories. Well, the same thing would happen with a country that got too much corruption, right? You would give them the shame emotion, and while they're feeling shameful, they will not want to eat other countries because that'll make them fatter, and they need to slim down, right? And so in game, what you do is you in the Mize you make a yearly pulse, right, which then changes how a country is feeling, right? And you can give them mixed emotions too, right? And those emotions will then can be used to inform every single event, every single pertinent event it fires, as well as all of the other pertinent calculations related to how they behave. And that's the same thing that happens in us, right? So you'd basically just be giving the AI emotions the way that we have emotions. And in a lot of ways, it's way simpler. I mean, creating the emotions initially and programming the AI to then feel these ways is a little bit difficult at first, but then once you use them and integrate it into the system, it'll give you much better and dynamic AI, and it'll be really easy to use because when you're programming the AI, you're just like you would just be like, oh, check for this emotion, and then weight the decision by this much based on that emotion, right? It's not really that much work though, Commando. It wouldn't be very much work at all. I mean, it supports fat shaming, blob shaming. I know. Sorry to all you fatties out there. And yeah, Jewel, the colonization's busted. So yeah, too much about giving the AI feelings, but it wouldn't be too difficult, and it's in order to properly train the AI, it's kind of necessary. Because think about it for a second, like when an AI gets corrupt, like really, really corrupted, for instance. Oh, here we go. We need a long-term strategy for them. But in order to have a long-term strategy, they need to have longer-term postures, right? And instead of, originally I was going to call it postures, right? So you take a defensive, get your shit in order posture. But it's easier to conceptualize as like an emotion. So, okay. DG Islam 0.010. So, let me write this down. So that we can figure out why it's broken. I have no idea why it is suddenly broken for no reason. DG Islam 0.010. Okay. Fix that later. Oh, hey, are you Kata? Yeah, I haven't got a little while to. Good to see you again. $5 pounds overweight. Everyone's such calling fat. I could lose a little weight myself. Yeah. It's part of. Oh, where'd you come from? It's part of like. Keeping your mind in good shape is keeping your body in good shape too, and getting exercise and stuff like that. Actually, pretty damn important. And so with like when I formally get going with development, sort of documenting the development process and everything, working in like the whole not becoming a fat slob thing is going to be really important because, you know, when you start developing bad habits and you start drinking too much caffeine and not getting out of the chair from time to time to walk around, or getting exercise, not getting any exercise, it weighs down on your brain too, and you can't. It's almost like you kind of have a fog that muffles all of your thoughts and doesn't make you sharp. I gotta get back into jogging on a regular basis. Somalian diet. I bet that'll save me money on my grocery bill too. The border gore commando. So what? When people say border gore, I'm not always sure everyone means the same thing. Everyone up for some excitement? Wow. Talk about garbage. More garbage. At least I got a good siege. Actually, no, not too bad. Okay. Let's just get some action. Force limit is 12. We got so much money, so hey, why not? Okay, so a little bit better with Miltech. Yeah. I think it may be time for independence. Other manpower spending events broken too. Eesh. Which ones are you talking about? And Cynical, yes, it will be released on Steam Workshop. Oh, the Somali diet, yeah. Like, intentionally infect yourself with some hookworms. Oh, I see. So, yeah. I don't know why the Gracia would be screwed up. All of my events shouldn't be screwed up when it comes to manpower. Mine uses a completely different system. Degracia. No, it's totally cool, Luigi. It's broken, it needs to be fixed, obviously. It's just Degracia in general. I've told other people before, that Harper, the Degracia guy, is gone. A lot of code is really old now, and I don't know. We got to make a decision about it at some point, what to do with it. Commando, lack of balance is the main reason why most of the policies were pulled. Alex Brigham, plantations in farm estates don't produce extra food, but they spur more money invested in farming efficiency. So long term, technically yes, but just not on their own. One thing we did want to do is completely redo rural infrastructure. It's one of the earliest things that I made as part of the economic system, and so it's showing its age. And it'd be nice to redo it, but again, depends on what I can get around to. DG really hits my performance like my dad's belt. Yeah. There's the DG code. Oh, I mean, there's so many things we could do to it to make it better and up to date. Very big leap policies. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Quentin. Some people love DG, everything about it, and all of the great details, and blah blah blah. And other people hate it, or they don't necessarily hate it, but to some people it has a lot of bloat and a lot of dated things. My main contention with DG is there is a good bit of bloat, but it's also very unbalanced in a lot of ways too. And so it's like an AI death trap in a lot of ways, unfortunately. Because you saw those events firing, draining my legitimacy at just like crazy. Like new advisor events every 6 months to a year, and if you even accept half of them, then your legitimacy is like at 0, and before your ruler's even at middle aged. There's all kinds of things like that just murder the AI. And a lot of improper scaling. So Commando Dude, the fact that those little church events that fire, so first off, you have money from nowhere, right? It's not scaling off of anything. So for instance, I read the jizya tax so that it comes out of province wealth. And so that money is coming from somewhere. It's not just appearing out of the ether regardless of how powerful a province is or things like that. And then the events fire faster and faster and faster the more churches you have and the more provinces you have. And so it ends up just becoming a huge amount of bloat. So stuff like that. I don't want to complain too much about DG. And of course, when you stack all of the DG modifiers with all of the pop modifiers too, it's a lot. Yeah, Quentin, seriously. If I could just do this for a living, it would be no problem. And we could have everything. But it's, I'll admit, like, as far as the mod team is concerned, I can be a little bit forceful, not forceful, protective, or obsessive about getting everything just right so that it's contained and balanced and yeah. What is going on with you guys? You guys civil war or something? Yeah, now it's time to strike, it appears. Oh yeah. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. How did that happen? Man. Oh, new trade nodes. Any trade? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Yowzers. I don't even see any province drama here. What's going on? We don't have buggy weather. Let's see. I should go to sleep soon. No, it's just unfavorable weather. So why do you have a devastating famine? That's excessive. I mean, unfavorable weather is unfavorable. It's not. Another really bad famine over here, and only unfavorable. Wait, I did screw with some famine stuff recently. This could be my doing. I'll have to look over it again. Yeah, I may have. I think I know what I did. Yeah, these should all be 2 levels lower. Okay. Sorry. Let me say famine test. Come back to it later. Check the variables. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna do. I was gonna kill you. Oh look. Darn it. Question is, will they sail all the way over here or march all the way over here? Probably, but oh damn. I don't want my stability to be that low, so well, that needs to update. It should be 100. So I'm just gonna dish out some privileges. UE. Sure. Commando, yeah, they're supposed to be pretty at the lower level. It depends on your side. So if you're a massive country and you have a massive famine, it's almost impossible to do much. Yeah, they're meant to be pretty damn expensive. And one thing to consider is excuse me, that's one of the concerted ways that you can raise population long term is relieving famine, because higher density makes you more susceptible to famine, but the flip side is that higher density pushes up long term population growth significantly. Yeah, 5K ducats, that seems about right. I may regret this. Well, yeah, let's loot. Took the stab hit and 1 million people died. Yeah, it's easy to underestimate how many people die in a famine, but it's pretty beastly. Okay. The Mamluks bankrupted way too fast. They must have chosen bankruptcy. That's unfortunate. You gotta fix the Mamluks. They're folding way too quickly. It's what, 1374? They shouldn't be collapsed already. What the hell caused that? I'll have to run some hands-off games. Yeah, I know they did that already. I'll wipe their army real quick. Jesus. I don't even think it's going to be necessary. Thanks anyway, though. Who's the taller, blonde, white guy on the team? That must be Myzel. I think it's Myzel. What, you saw him in like a picture or something? Even fortune probably because of the potato hasn't discovered by Europe. Oops. So this is gonna be easy. Dagnammit. Really? What? Yeah, famines are acting real funky. Well, take some measures. Yeah, continental centers, there needs to be a sufficient amount of culture in general on the continent in order to have one spawn, period, I believe. I will find out momentarily. If I can just... Oh, you're right, yeah. Hotkeys are good. Too much loot. Yeah, India is counted as a continent. So there is Europe, there is the Middle East and North Africa, there is Sub-Saharan Africa, Central Asia, India, and the Far East. I know, extremely Eurocentric. Shining Siberian Center of Art. Don't you guys think world-renowned university is unbalanced? Not if you're trying to aggregate all of your art power in one place. That's kind of the point. If you want better education for your country, then yeah, you build local universities who are practical. Well, if it's not me that's gonna loot everything, it's gonna be somebody else, so... Bring it, Cairo. North Asia. That's cool. East African Continental Arts Center. Yay, congratulations, Cynical. I was just gonna say. I'm so proud of you. For a 9-year-old kid, you're pretty smart. See what my loot pool's looking like. What? I don't have enough? Holy shit. Well, let's back off and think this over then. I have 6. This is gonna be a pain in the ass. I may need a few more dudes. Yeah, Zeropathic. Is there any reason to build universities to the point where you have more student slots, upper class slots? Yeah, they'll double educate, but at diminishing returns. Fuckers! Oh, they're gonna kill me. Come on. God damn it. I had to make this difficult. I should have done this earlier. You better not lose. Yuck. That's right. Run back to Morocco. Actually, no. Don't go walking across the Sinai. Let's see. Hey Damien, loving the mod so far. Great job. The whole team. Cool questions though. I'm trying to build a building and prerequisites seem to be bugged, showing the building effects instead. No, that's not a bug. That's an unfortunate limitation of modding tools. So the problem is there's no way for us to express the new stats other than to change the title localization so that it has, how do I explain this? So that it looks like all of these stats here exist even though they don't. And so whenever the title is cited somewhere else, it shows all of the stats as well. Because Paradox removed building descriptions, so we can't put it in building descriptions. Let me show you kind of how the hack works. So yeah, sorry about that, but that's just an annoying side effect. Where's building descriptions? I think this is it here. So, see, Trade Depot title. it has all of the other localizations embedded in here in the title. Because there is no such thing as anymore as a description building trade depot. Right. We may be getting building descriptions back. Paradox might be giving them to it. I don't know. They kind of suggested that might happen. But in the meantime, you can see how it's all written there. Huge pain in the ass when it comes to changing things around, because every time we have to change something in the building file, then we have to also do it in here. And you can see how, in order to make it look like, urban gravity is an actual real existing stat, we have to, we have to encompass different parts of it in different color text and things like that. So. That was my long-winded explanation. Yeah, if someone wanted to do a wiki, that would be great. Engage, yeah, we're gonna adjust France. Yeah, it'd be nice if a couple of people wanted to do their wikis. We could try to aggregate them again at one point, depending on who has the best parts, depending on how whether people actually want to do it or not. Of course. Looks like we are going to be marching across the Sinai after all. So bad. Wait, where the heck are you going? Okay. Let's see if I can intercept and then. Is there a hotkey for? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna march back across the Sinai one by one, and I'm also going to there. Byzantine, the beginning of the rant. If I understand the question right, then yes, but I think the requirements bug is not really it's not a bug. It is a side effect of how we are attempting to express information to the player, right? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yes, Alex, that's right. Which is unfortunate, but you can either choose between the bug or being able to actually see what buildings do. Because it looks like it's displaying real stats, but it's not really doing any of that at all. It's just we just hacked the title. So see all of this text here, right? That's just supposed to be a one-line title, but we converted it, we extended the title and added all kinds of crazy localization stuff to make it look like it's actually displaying real information that's part of the building, but it's not. It's just a hacked title. If we get descriptions, then we can just move all of that text into the description, so then when it gives the requirement part, then all you see is just the title and not the requirement. I don't want to have to fight you guys again. Weather's nice over in Morocco this time of year. Why don't you just, go home? Which more reinforcing do we have to do here? If I can hold out. Do I really want to wait that long now? Okay, I lost the effects of minimal loot burden. Problem is they're reinforcing right now too. So let's go, boys. Of course, I'm walking across the Sinai. Dying of attrition. Oops. No, we're good. That's not what I wanted to happen. I was hoping I'd get the stack wipe right off the bat, but I guess that works too. Question now is whether I can siege down Cairo fast enough. Oops, crap. No, that was not my siege general. No. Let's see. Lol, took me until just now to realize that I can just manually build up mines in gold provinces. Yes, you can. It'll exhaust the minerals faster if you do, but you'll be rich for a short period of time. What level of country, area, continent is it that trade centers and production centers determine? Subcontinent. Memluks have terrible morale because they went bankrupt recently, I believe. So Fez is basically fighting the war for them. I gotta figure out why they went bankrupt though, because they were not really that poor. Other people are mentioning bankruptcies too. A lot of weird stuff happened after we integrated into the most recent build. I think it was 1.21 or something like that. Oh, we have a disease outbreak? Yes, we did. Bummer. Oh, well, that's blue. Was not expecting to lose this fight. I mean, that could be time just to... Nah. That's what I get for not paying attention. But I did loot Cairo, that's what matters. Question is, how much longer do I want this fight to go on? How can you tell if a mine is getting depleted? Yeah, mines, I mean, you'll see that they produce less and less trade value over time. And there's supposed to be little events that fire that show you when a new deposit is found. But that's an aspect that was never very thoroughly developed. Well, let's see if I can get my independence. Well, I got so much more manpower though, don't I? Okay, let's consolidate. Free again. Ooh, that's are commented out? What? Yeah, it could have been. What may have been commented out may not be what you think, Alex. There's some old code that may have been. That may have been commented out. Oh, the loot burden is what screwed me up. Oh, and I just consolidated a bunch of my noble levies. That's gonna sting me. Wait. You can loot more from a province if you keep your armies on it? No, doesn't make any difference. It's when it's sieged. Poof. It happens at once. It's mainly, I mean, it's, oh, why am I standing in the Sinai? Keep going, keep going. Time. Oh, no. Oh, I don't want to fight you again. It's going to beat me again. Jesus, really? Even with the defensive bonus? I guess it's the heavy loot. Just killing my discipline, but morale is just about the same. Same cavalry. What the hell? Man, it's better, General. Alright, this is pointless. Oh, and then I just suicided with my cavalry. Okay. And that's what I get for not paying attention. I want the monies, but... I need the stability. Oh, got mad at me. Okay, guys, so I better go to sleep. Plans for the future. I guess I'm getting situated. You know, in the new house and everything, and then I'll figure out what exactly I'm going to do as far as continuing development. Yeah, I don't know. I get a little bit intimidated when I think of, you know, continuing to work on the mod. Just because I'm afraid to fall into the same trap where I'm just working on it with no apparent advancements, you know, in my personal life. You know, I have to start measuring that against, right, the money I could be making to support my family and things like that. And I know that it's not going to be practical to work on the mod at that kind of pace for another year or year and a half to get it finished to the point where it needs to be. There's the possibility that I mean, I'd be super happy if other team members stepped up to make the kind of things that, you know, I've made over the past year and a half, all the new mechanics and everything, but I'm not really convinced that'll necessarily happen. Just, you know, because of the nature of a volunteer project, and also it goes back to the whole, you know, when you're trying to make like an entire new game, it's easy in a compilation mod to just have people come in and build things willy-nilly and everyone just do their own thing. You try and build something of this magnitude, it has to have a certain orderliness and structure to it, and usually that means, one person being really, really focused and determined and willing to stick with it for a long time to flesh those things out. Yeah, Luis, exactly. I've got kids to parent. But on the same token, so I've definitely carved out the time that's absolutely necessary with my kids. And so, for instance, weekends, I'll spend a little time having some fun on the weekend, doing some mod stuff or some gaming or whatever. For a while, I was my wife for a year. She took the kids on the weekend to my mother-in-law's, so I could work on the mod. I know it sounds crazy. I'm obviously not doing that anymore. What are you talking about? I'm into his baby. Yeah, Quentin, that's a possibility, sketching out the stuff I want done, having others do it. But, it's just, I don't think it would get done the way that it needs to. Maybe it would be good enough. The thing is, pop, all the pop stuff, it's much more like real coding and real programming, and less like just mod script. That's the problem. And so there's a few people on the team that can do that, but most of them have real life stuff too. They don't want to spend 4 or 5 days a week, 40 hours a week working on it, or they just can't. They can't fail at school. Stuff like that. So for instance, KJ is a great programmer, but isn't very good with the cosmetic stuff, and he wants to try and go for a job at Paradox, which means learning C++. So he's kind of taking a step back. Desimon is a really good coder, and pretty creative too. He's probably one of the most talented programmers on the team, but he has a lot of real life stuff. He wants to do well at school, so he kind of comes and goes too. Flopsy is another really good programmer, but he's more of a tech support person. He has a lot of real life stuff. So I just don't. There's people on the team like Malorn and Gigao, and Myzel is a great programmer too, but he's got a lot of real life stuff, and he doesn't really. He's more technical support. Because there has to be a creative side to it too when you make these kinds of things. You need to have sort of technical skill, but you also have to be really creative so that you can make it in a way that's practical. I'll do anything to be Demian's unpaid intern. Delegation is actually really damn hard, guys. It sounds easy just to hand things off, and I can show you my Steam, not my Steam, but my Paradox Plaza messages that I get on a daily basis from people. There are a billion people that are offering to help, and most of the time when people do help, they help for. You have to spend a whole lot of time managing them, and then they get bored of it, or they lose their inspiration, which you can't really blame them for that necessarily. And so you end up wasting more time trying to delegate to people than just doing it yourself. And when you're not paying people, you have no leverage over getting them to do things. So it's, long story short, if I don't do it, I'm not sure it's going to get done. It'd be awesome if it did, but it's a lot to expect from anybody. And it's is someone really going to learn all of the stuff that I made and learn, every line of code and everything? And the way, things have to be scaled and balanced in a certain way. You see that some things are a bit imbalanced now with the game. And that's with, my obsessive attempt to make a balanced system, where things scale properly. Everything from the costs and benefits, related to a state. It's like all this stuff here. It looks simple, but even just one of these interactions takes a really long time to create, and it took the creation of entirely new tools and new scripted effects so that they'd scale properly. In regular Paradox modding script, it takes maybe one line of code to add in an effect like this. Or this is a bad example. An effect like this. Well, I can't get to it now, but making a simple effect, in regular Paradox modding script takes maybe one line of code, but like with mine, it takes maybe 50 or 100, and that's because all of the scaling needs to be in properly. And you need to be able to know what variables to harness in the system in order to scale it as well. So there's a million tiny little things like that. It's hard just to hand off to somebody else, or for someone to not just want to take the quick fix or the lazy way of doing it, which then ends up being not very balanced, So that's just my rant. Yeah, why delegate when I could do it myself? Why am I so burned out? Like I said, if I could pay people to do things to realize the vision, that'd be easy, because then you have leverage. But in a mod team, when you're not paying people, people don't sign up so that they can do what somebody else tells them to. People sign up to a mod team because they want to realize their own creative vision, And that's one of the frustrating parts with a mod team, right? It's obvious that you can't run it like a company because it wouldn't be fair. But that's just part of the limitations. If you want something done, you pretty much have to do it yourself if it's something big. I mean, there's lots of people on the mod team, like I can ask them, like, hey, can you do this thing for me real quick? And sometimes it gets done, sometimes it doesn't. And, it's not their fault if it doesn't get done because it's all volunteer. Totally forgot what the original question was. Yeah, what the hell I'm going to do. Whatever I do, it's going to have to do with the Noob game developer. Because first, I do want to try and monetize it to some extent. Even if it doesn't raise very much, it's still a way to justify the activity. So I can, go to my wife and I can look at my kids in the eye and be like, okay, this could plausibly build towards something which justifies me not taking that extra account at work and making extra money, And the project itself will be kind of peripherally related to the modding process. It can't just be about modding because I don't want to be collecting money that's directly related to the mod, because then I'd be collecting money that other team members wouldn't be getting, that they're working on the mod too, so that wouldn't be fair. So it has to be something related to modding, possibly, or modding can be a part of it. They can't be 100%. And so I'm still working on the forum, going to be documenting the process of trying to make development work, from scratch, just with no experience, because it's fun, it's awesome, it feels great to wake up in the morning every day and have ideas bouncing around in your head, how you're gonna execute something, how you're gonna build something, like thinking about how to give AIs emotions and how to make them behave off of that. Like, that was such a fun internal dialogue, and I want to be able to continue to have that, and to be able to help other people find a passion like that as well. So that's definitely the main focus of whatever it is I'm going to be working on. And yep, I cannot. Taking donations directly is still problematic. So streaming, the whole streaming part is an interesting part of the equation, because I could plausibly be running a Twitch account, and be running a Patreon for the streaming and for the Noob game development, and that would be, the other team members seem to be okay with that too, so it wouldn't be like I don't think it would be generating a problem with them. But theoretically, if I could actually make a sufficient amount off of the Noob game developer, and if that were plausible, I could find a way. I could find it. It would be plausible to find enough time throughout the week to be able to do, on a consistent basis, find enough time to do like a 2 or 3 week developer sprint, and then be able to create a new feature in that time, and then work on a few other things with the new game developer, and then come back to another development sprint later and make progress on the mod that way. It's really a matter of finding enough time consistently during the week and justifying that time, which is what makes it work. If it doesn't look like I can really monetize it in any practical way, that's fine too. I just will end up probably working on my own independent project, and kind of just be a junior member of the team, making sure that be an advisor to other people that might want to create those features that we talked about. And if people stepped up and did it, then that would be awesome. I'd love that. I am not convinced that would happen though. And so if I can't really make a go at monetization of my project, then I'll just probably work on my Unity project and just kind of plug away at it as a hobby. Take more work, with my business, with my company, and try to make more money there. Then once the girls go off to school in like 3 years or so, when they're both off at school, then I've got a lot more time to do development, but it would have to be a hobby until then. Just kind of I talk about these things. I hope I'm not boring people with these monologues, but it's kind of an insight into into how you actually make these kinds of creative projects work, because it's not just about the technical aspect. It's about a lot of logistical peripheral things. When you're younger, you have the time, but not necessarily the motivation or the drive or the stick-with-itness to keep at it. And that's the way it was when I was younger, right? It was way too easy just to get distracted and be like, oh, I'm going to go play a video game now. It's like, you have this idea like, I'm going to make my own game, I'm going to learn how to do it, or I'm going to make a really awesome mod, and then you get like 15 minutes into it and you're like, oh yeah, this League of Legends sounds like fun right about now. But now that I'm older and I feel like I have the drive and the interest and the ability to stay motivated, now I have so many more rivals on my time. I've got the girls, I've got my wife, I've got full-time job. Yeah, thanks, Martin. That's a nice thing to say. I hope the future will align for you. There has to be a reality where your hobby can add to your life more than it drags on you. Sometimes time will tell what can happen. Yeah. Youth is wasted on the young. Yeah. Make an application or something if you want quality control. Modding can be a hobby, but in this case, you're releasing a product. It's understandable if you want competent people. Yeah, it's managing people. I've learned is, even with like my business, like managing a few employees, like you do this calculus in your head where it's like, is it am I better off doing it myself than hiring and getting someone else to do it? Because not only do you have the management issues of having to manage them, but then you have the issue of how much quality you're losing by having someone else do it. And that's sometimes a squishy kind of variable too. Don't you need to sleep? I do. Sometimes I just can't stop myself. Okay. So, yeah, your kids will grow up at some point. These things take lots of effort. Don't feel bad for balancing things. The work you've done so far is still awesome. Thanks. You just have to hire someone who's better than you. I'm telling you, it's one thing I've really learned is like in these types of creative projects, how you have such a broad diversity of talent. You know, like I said before, you got some people on a team like Mayazel and Flopsy who have tons of knowledge about just the technical aspect of running these types of projects and the code involved and how to properly check error logs and things like that. That's always stuff I've really sucked at really bad, because I'm not a mathematician, And I totally underestimated like the creative aspect too. How important it is to have a creative vision. And so for instance, like I'm not a very good mathematician. I'm not a very good natural coder. But what thing I'm really good at doing is creating a big vision and then inventing all of the components just out of thin air from scratch from the tools that I do understand. And that's where I found that, the joy of the process really. And it's actually a skill that's not terribly common either. The demographic research, Alex, yeah, man. The stuff that Alderon and Cardinal did were pretty crazy. I mean, Jesus, look at all these provinces and they all needed data and information and terrain information and, like I know Cardinal too, he spent, looking up ports, and geographic features that justified modifiers in these minor goods. Like, oh, so you did research about every province in Russia that should have furs and every province that have pearls and then trade goods too, places where the urban trade goods should show up. So yeah, there's definitely that side too, So it's, my work has just been on the mechanics and stuff like that. Yeah, Martin, I wish I knew how to code. I gave up on programming a long time ago in school. Hey man, I gave up programming a long time ago in school too. And I just assumed it wasn't my thing, It's like, I remember I embarrassed myself so bad in the 8th grade. In a math class, teacher was teaching how to program, and I remember at one point, like for some reason, every goddamn kid in the class knew what they were doing and knew how to program their TI-83 calculators. The teacher got around to me, and I had absolutely nothing finished because I just couldn't get it. And I wish I could, because I wanted to be that kind of smart, but I wasn't. And I remember from that point on, my brain just shut off to programming. And I remember, like, I always wanted to be a computer geek, but wasn't. And I think I kind of gave up too soon, which is kind of sad because, when I finally did discover how to code, it was like I felt like a freaking wizard. I felt like Gandalf or something. I was like, man, this is what I've been missing. Just because I let myself get intimidated. Yeah, Martin, man, try again. Like, pick up on modding. Here's the thing, and this is one of the first things I was gonna write in my Noob Game Dev series. Is the tool is not necessarily what is important. You will learn that when you need to. What matters is that you find something you really want to freaking build. What is the thing that really interests you? What do you want to see come to life? And bam, as soon as you find that thing, and it requires coding, you will learn the coding. It's that simple. Coding is just like a language. It's like learning a language. And I'm horrible at learning languages too. I failed Spanish like 3 times in college. It ruined my GPA. But you will learn that. You will learn the coding once you find the thing that you're passionate about. Okay, so for KJ, for instance, KJH, he worked on the AI, right? In M&T 2.0 for a while, for about 6 to 8 months. He I don't know if I have permission to tell his story or not, but it's kind of inspiring. He's like 22, 23 years old. He felt like a failure in his life. He was a shut-in, and really felt quite worthless, for a lot of his life, and didn't know what he was going to do, and didn't really have much direction. Kind of living with his mom and everything. But when I met him, I could tell he was an incredibly smart person. And then he started, I gave him a stealth copy of M&T 2.0 way back when it was a lot younger. I didn't tell the other team members, but I gave him this copy. I said, just play around and see how you like it, and then he took up modding. He started learning the mod language and everything. And he caught the creative bug too. And he got really, really excited because his angle was he loved AI. There were a lot of things about the mod that he wasn't really interested in, but he loved the idea of AI. He loved the idea of seeing AI make decisions and see their decisions influence the world, And so then he started coding like crazy, and he became one of our most prolific members for a while. And it gave him a purpose in his life, that he had felt like he was missing. And now, 1 year later, after feeling like a completely worthless person in a waste of space, he wants to go for a job at Paradox. He's learning C++. He's created some great things in game. I met him at PdxCon. I shared a room with him, so we got to talk a long time. And he's like a totally different person when I first met him. So summary, Martin, is I would absolutely give it a shot, but don't just try to learn the code just for its own sake. All right, what you need to do is you need to find something that is specifically very interesting to you, so that you can wake up every morning and look forward to working on that thing, right? And that's the way I feel. Like, if I had all the time in the world, I just like wake up and work on 2.0 and be working on the next thing, to see my creation come to life. But once you're able to create the thing that you want to make, that you find interesting, then you'll find that you always have the motivation to learn to code. And the first month or so, you'll be slamming your head against it over and over again, like, oh my god, I really am as dumb as I thought I was. But then at some point, something will snap and you'll catch it. And from that point on, it'll get easier and easier. And try to, whatever language you decide to use, try to find a community too that can help you. That's like the most important part too. Definitely cures depression. I have literally nothing stopping me but myself, Martin, and I felt that way too, man. And I've had the advantage that I have always had a supportive spouse, and a good family and everything. In my life, man, I'd won like lots and lots of awards in high school and full paid scholarships and everything. I totally crashed and burned in college, and it depressed the fuck out of me for the rest of my 20s, and achieved not very much. I had jobs and everything, but I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And and because I wanted to be a big name scientist, or I wanted to be in computer science. They just kind of kept, it was a recession. I was mulling along and didn't really have a good job. And fortunately, I had a really, really supportive wife. But we had rough times too, because not between the two of us, but we wanted to have a family. But she has a family history of ovarian issues, and so we had to go through all kinds of crazy stuff. And when our kid was born, she was super, super sick, and we had a lot of hard times. And we eventually came out of it. And it was kind of funny, but when I started modding, that was kind of the point where life got better, because not only were things falling in place with the rest of my life, but I was finally kind of realizing and doing the thing I'd wanted to do, which is kind of create something, with computer with coding, that would see the light of day, that people could use, that people would have fun with, and being able to use creative impulses to actually make something in the world. And like I said, like programming is like being a wizard, man. It's freaking awesome. It's frustrating at times, as you're trying to work out the bugs with your whatever it is you're trying to create. But when you finally make it, you feel like a god or something. It's pretty awesome. I think my failed loving relationships really set me from just being unmotivated to being heavily depressed for no reason. Yeah. It's funny though, because when you kind of sorry, I'm itching my arm. When you succeed at things in life, all of the marital stuff tends to fall in place. When you kind of are able to, because when you succeed at something, when people get good jobs and their life is moving in the right direction, you have a certain confidence about you that the opposite sex will find attractive, and that can tend to fall in place. But it's kind of like a chicken and the egg kind of situation. If you're depressed about your relationship situation, it can be hard to get motivated to do stuff, and if you're not motivated to do stuff, then you're not moving forward with the marital situation. So yeah, that kind of sucks. I wish I had better advice for you on the relationship side, but I got lucky. My wife was my high school sweetheart, and she was in the nerdy guys, I guess. So yay. But she was a nerd too, so. Yeah, Green Forest. Sucks to feel in love and fail. That is why I made my dumb YouTube channel. It feels great when people actually like what you create. Yeah, it's totally true, man. This process of creation lifts you up, and when you can share it with other people too, it gives you a kind of purposefulness in life. You can play a video game and by yourself and kind of be like, well, that was fun, right? Like, I enjoyed myself, but it doesn't endure. It doesn't feel like you've necessarily done something that's lasted longer than the period of time that you spent playing the game, right? Or create something that goes out into the world, or have some kids, and that things like that kind of give you that sense of purposefulness every day you wake up. Like with my kids, like, oh my god, they take up so much time, and it can be such a pain to raise kids, but it has a kind of qualitative improvement to your life that you can't really quantify in the same terms. I'm definitely a better person for it. The stream turned into some very feels heavy stuff. No shame in that. There's no shame in that. Pouring your heart out to a bunch of strangers you've never met. I'm currently in university, and when I do poorly in my units, it's very disheartening. Just gotta keep that enthusiasm and learn from your mistakes. Sound like that's what happened to you, Demian. Yeah, and did not just write yourself off so easily. You know, it's kind of like, on the one hand, you don't want to oversell yourself on your own abilities, because then you're guaranteed to set yourself up for failure. But on the other hand, if you undersell yourself too much, then you just waste your life doing something that you're not meant to do. That's what's interesting about, you know, this stream with this kind of group of people is anyone who's going to be like a Europa Universalis nerd, and not just a Europa Universalis nerd, but someone who plays a mod like this, which is steeped in history and demographics and all of that, are all going to be people who have very exceptional minds, you know, who are actually a very narrow segment of people in the world. It's funny because, you know, I talk with people like you guys so much, and so it skews my brain toward thinking that everyone out in my regular life likes this kind of stuff. And so it's like, I'll get into it with some clients and customers talking about this kind of stuff, and it's just like eyes glaze over and have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But I think there's probably a tremendous amount of potential in all of the people here, really, that's either being realized right now or hasn't been realized yet. And so, yeah, whatever you do, don't sell yourself short. Is Mrs. Demian still here? I bet she's lurking right now. That's just what she does, man. It's like when I was at PdxCon, she was running like the she was kind of like running. She was texting me every 2 seconds from the United States, being like, "Hey, there's people on Twitch that want you to get on the interview with Paradox." There's, you know, she's constantly texting me about these things. But yeah, she's probably lurking right now, watching. She's gonna make fun of me when I go off to bed. She'll be like, "Oh yeah, trying to speechify with everybody. I'm so inspired. I cried. Let's see. Do what I do, guys. Memes. Just enough, and you forget what feelings are. Oh, jeez. Basically, we're the cream of the crop. Hey man, finding your way is tough nowadays. Go back to history, you know. I think about this often. You know, if some peasant on a farm, like, what you need to know is right in front of you, you know. You don't have to wonder about where your place in life is. There is no billions and billions of books worth of collected human knowledge to have to tap through and navigate. And nowadays, you know, I mean, we have so many freaking awesome things at our fingertips, but like, how do you find your place amongst those billions and billions of books worth of human knowledge? You know, like, where do you best fit in? It's complicated. It's hard. I don't know. It's intimidating, right? Such a wholesome stream. Hey, Mrs. Demian, stop spying on your husband. He's in good hands. Yeah, it's... No, Green 4s, yeah, I think this is the market you need to tap into to get money. It's like... It's almost like... It's kind of like cynical, you know, to think that way, except if you are very open about it, you know. Is one of the things I'd like to do with the Noob game developer is to make it also about to make all of the other mistakes that people would have to make too in the process, and then explain, like, this is how you monetize, this is what I tried, this is what I failed at, and this is the strategy I am using on you right now, you know. Right. And I think if you're open about it, I don't really know how that'll work necessarily, but I fundamentally hate marketing, so because it's ultimately just about deception, right? So it's the only way I could really do it anyway, is to just be completely open with what my strategy is, and not try to manipulate people or manipulate their emotions or something like that, because that's evil. Let's see, catch up with comments. Religion emotes. The market of hardcore history nerds that feel left behind by paradox. I don't think that's actually a very broad market. I hear your sarcasm. But the wider world of creative people looking for ways to realize that creativity, I think there are multitudes. It seems like one of the great tragedies in my mind is anyone who has the mind to do something exceptional but then isn't able to because of circumstances or because they simply can't find their way. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, right, about how complicated the world is nowadays. How do you find the way you need to go to the place you need to be to unlock the potential of what you should really be doing? That's hard. So I don't know. Maybe I can help with that. Let's see. I have some ideas for a rework of tech system I wanted to pitch on the forums, but now I'm worried I wouldn't have the time to commit in the way you have that I'm really passionate about. Yeah, well, Tag, it's worth trying. I mean, so you have the mod now; it's open to everyone. That's a good example of something just to go ahead and do. So we should have add miltech, add admin tech, add diplotech. That's all you really need. We have all the variables necessary. But I say try it. And just fiddle around and see what you come up with, you know. And even if it doesn't get integrated directly into the mod, you always just make a mod. Other people use it. I'm sure people would be happy with it. I say give it a shot. That's something to work toward. I didn't know Echo was you. Oh, that was actually not sarcasm, Green Forest. Okay, well that's encouraging too. There are a multitudinous plethora. Myriad? Alright, well I guess we've gotten to the logical end of this conversation. Astonished we still have 82 people watching, which probably just means they've fallen asleep in their chairs, but alright, well, it is 12:22, so I believe I saved yeah. Yeah, Tag. I'd give that a try. My general idea was to use institutions as whatever, but it will be computationally intensive. Give it a try, see what you come up with, and let us know how it turns out. Luis, sorry. I'm procrastinating too, as you can see, but neither of us should be procrastinating any further. Anyway, gotta go. See you guys. Don't know when I'll stream next, but I'll sort it out.